Everyone, Phoenix Spring Tarot. So in this reading, we'll be looking at Trump's tariffs, right? So he's terrified the world, pun intended, but can he make this work? So some of you guys, my subscribers, would have remembered that last November, I did a reading predicting the economic situation over 2025 and beginning of 2026. And I'll place the thumbnail somewhere along here so you can know what it looks like to reference the video after this. And we had predicted that there was something coming up in terms of an economic downturn. And the spirit guides had shared messages and insights as to what we can do to prepare for the situation. So I did that last year. So if you want to do review it, because I wouldn't be covering the advice here, we would just be taking the conversation forward. But one of the things they're saying now, one of the things from that reading that I just want to stress though, and they said this consistently over and over and over again, it's stop looking to external people, stop looking to external governments, stop looking to external forces, stop looking to external groups, stop looking to external pundits or people to save you. Right? This answer is all within yourself, and it's a matter of understanding. It is a matter of taking ownership of your discretion, discernment, and where you focus your attention so you don't get swept up and controlled by the chaos. All right? So that's one thing that they wanted me to stress. That was in that video, along with other advice and tips and so on to prepare us for this time. So you can check that out. And if you see me looking down here, I'm just referencing my notes to ensure that I stay on track with what we want to cover. So the first 3 months since that video, the first 3 months of the Trump administration, it's really seemed chaotic. There's been a lot going on. We've had, the dismantling of the financial institutions, Dodge, the Ukraine peace talks, ICE, rounding up illegal immigrants or immigrants, Trump wanting to take over Greenland, wanting to make Canada the 51st state. And now just after this month, just after April Fool's Day, he didn't do it on the 1st of April, he did it on the 2nd, we have these global tariffs. So the end goal for Trump, what he's always said is that he wants to make America great again, which is why he's doing all of this. Now, what we would be focusing on in this reading is, will he be able to do it? And if he can, what would that journey look like? Okay, so that's what we're focusing on in this reading. And again, I'll be giving messages from the spirit guides, and I'll be going into tarot. So if you want to fast forward to the timestamps, I'll provide them below. And also just to say, for those of you who are looking here for big reveals or for entertainment or for things to be sensationalized, if you know that you look for validation outside of yourself or you're looking for someone external to you for any answers, then very, very unfortunately, this may not be the reading for you and this is not the channel for you, okay? So I just want to manage your expectations and say that. All right, so let's get into the spirit guide messages. All right, so these are the messages for my spirit guides. I channeled them before, and I'll be reading through them and delivering them here and delivering them now. Okay, so message number 1. Organized chaos, method to the madness. So what they're saying here is that things may look chaotic. There are lots of moving parts, all moving at the same time, which leads us to point number 2. Here is why it looks so chaotic and there's so many moving parts. Trump always wanted to do this. So with Dodge, we're draining the swamp, tackling the deficit, debt, etc. But during his first term, of course, we had COVID and everything else, and the old establishment, the old institutions set up, they were too strong. And us as a collective, we were not ready. Energetically ready, spiritually ready. Sorry, they're giving this to me now. We did not have the awareness, the expanded awareness in order to deal with these changes if they had come up earlier. So they're saying just before the elections or around the time of the elections, us as a collective, we jumped timelines. So now we are in a state where we can handle what's happening. Now, I'm hearing now that a few of you may have a question regarding the term handle, and you may be saying, I can't handle this and so on. But it's as if you could perceive it and be more objective to the situation than before, is what they're saying. Like you could make sense of it. You could internalize it. You could understand it. Whereas before, they're saying as a collective, you would not have been able to. So that's what they're saying to me. Point number 3. They were saying that, and we get very spiritual and esoteric here, they were calling this experience the collective's dark night of the soul, particularly for people in the States. And amongst the spiritual community, I haven't really heard this yet being talked about in a meaningful way. The implications of the tariffs and the high prices means that this is going to sting a while. And in it stinging for a while, I will go into that in more detail. There is a lot of exploration as to who this is for, why it's happening, the process of going through pain to get to an end result that we want and we're after. It's also talking about us as a collective making a decision or wanting something more or wanting something better, and to journey to that more and to journey to that better. Many times the path to that could look quite painful. Sorry, they're showing me images, so I'm trying to describe it. It's like many times in terms of getting what we want, we have to break down and we have to destroy the structure. They're saying destroying old institutions and systems and doing away with ways with ways that we are used to doing things. We need to do away with ways that we are used to perceiving, ways that we are used to thinking. We need to do away with those things, or at least challenge those things, in order to get the better, in order to get to the nirvana that us as a collective have in mind. So in terms of that destruction, in terms of the crumbling, and this destruction and crumbling of the old institutions and ways of doing things and ways of patterns of thinking and so on, we had discussed that in the yearly predictions for this year. We discussed that at length. So this is one of the predictions coming through as to what the collapse of old institutions and so on looks like. And many times, because this is new territory for a lot of us, we're not used to it. So that's why it could feel chaotic. That's why it could really be taking a toll on our nervous systems. We are just not used to it. But it's this crumbling. They're showing me Kali, like this Kalima, like this destruction needs to take place for new things to emerge and new ways of thinking and being and to emerge. Right? That's what they're saying. 4th point, time and the running out of time, is another point they've raised. And they've raised the question, and I don't know how well I asked the question, or they may have raised the question. You know how you have the phrase too little, too late? They've raised the phrase whether it's too much, too late. Okay? So we have, and the reason why they raise this is because we have so much happening at the same time. We have the dodge, we have the tariffs, we have the cutting back on immigration with ICE. There's so many things happening at the same time. And usually you would have these things happening over a period of time, like over a period of 4 years or even 8 years, if you like. But it's all happening at once. But it's a matter of, is it too much, too late? And that's the question we're going to be exploring here. Now, at the moment, what I would say, because usually with my readings, so that's the end of the spirit guide readings, and we're going to go into the tarot section of this. Now, before going into the tarot part, I just want to say that, as I do with all my readings, I always explain if I have bias. Okay. So I just wanted to raise that here. In terms of myself, I've studied economics, like I have a degree in it. I have my A-levels, O-levels in economics, and I work as an analyst. I've been working as an analyst for the past 10 to 15 years. And what I want to just take a few moments to explain at this point is a number of things that I'm seeing that I wanted to quickly address to just clear up a lot of misinformation and short-sighted conclusions that I'm seeing floating around in the media. Okay, so I'll just be really quick. Again, if you don't want to watch this part, that's absolutely fine. Timestamps are down below. Okay, so firstly, I get what Trump is trying to do with the tariffs, etc. Previous governments, what they would have done, they would have just taxed the middle class, direct taxes, indirect taxes. We experience it over in the UK. By the way, let me just say this. I am based over in the UK. So I'm not involved. I'm not in the States. So some people think that I'm based in the States, but I'm not. So I just wanted to say that. So many times, but what Trump has decided to do, instead of taxing the middle class or taxing people, he wants to go down the route of tariffs. So, in a way, applaud for trying to find a different way or a different route to raise this money and to make things fairer. However, there are a few things that I'm spotting that I feel that the administration has been quite forthcoming with. Or perhaps they have, but I feel that these points I'm about to raise are more of a risk than perhaps the administration wants to say. Okay, so I'll say it. Firstly, the high prices. And what they're proposing this as is that they increase the tariffs on imports. And they're saying, consumption will just divert to domestic products. So it would be more in favor of US producers. But it doesn't quite, and I want to raise my first objection to that. It doesn't quite work that way. Simply because the global supply chain is just so interconnected. And many times domestic American companies may be importing more raw materials. They may be importing components that they need to create their products. So these companies would be incurring the high costs. So it's not as clear cut as, just move from the imports and just move to domestic products. It's not as clear cut as that. So the companies would have to take the approach of what do they do about these high price raw materials? Do they pass it on to the consumer? Do they absorb the cost, or do they do both? So chances are you would see an increase. People in America would see the increase of their domestic products as well. Point number 2, Trump has made about bringing manufacturing back, and this is all part of making America great again, particularly for the Midwest and Midwest cities and towns that relied on manufacturing and relied on industry. And those towns are literally have become a ghost town because a lot of this work has gone overseas. What he's saying is that by having these tariffs, he would make it cheaper and better and more enticing for manufacturers, American manufacturers, to bring their manufacturing sites and plants back into the US. And also it's to entice foreign companies to also invest in the US as well, by taking away a lot of the bureaucratic red tape, etc. So it's not just tariffs, but he plans to do that as well. However, I think one thing that hasn't been accounted for is, number one, the reason why we have this whole complex global supply chain and sort of is based on the premise that countries specialize in the operation or the production of items that they have a natural advantage of creating, right? So what we have are places like China or places like Taiwan that do the semiconductors, etc. That's the reason why they have ownership of those markets and the production of those components or those products. And that's why they are the specialists in exporting those products to the rest of the world. So, and also with some of these countries, they have an economic advantage, particularly countries like China that don't have the capitalist free market democracy setup that we have in the UK or that you have in America. Like China's an autocratic state. So if China decides, right, you're going to work for pennies in a pound or pennies in a dollar to make our exports cheaper and have a competitive advantage against all other exports. There is no free market to regulate that. There's no protesting in the streets that's happening for that. That is what it is. So you could say, yes, I'm going to eliminate red tape. I'm going to do all of this to bring manufacturing from those countries back to the States. But would people in the States be willing to work for those suppressed wages? And I think the whole wage demand debate is an interesting one. We're getting into Keynesian and neo-Keynesian theories. And even China of late has been mocking America. And I think they had some memes that they've created showing the average the average US worker working in a factory, saying, why would you want to do that? Even Dave Chappelle some time ago brought out when he was making a joke in one of his stand-up series, he was making a joke about iPhones. And he was saying, like, if they came back here, with people, like he was talking about Trump's tariffs, like he almost predicted this in his stand-up. And he was talking about the price of the iPhone and, saying that, okay, well, would people want to work pennies on a dollar to create iPhones in America? And he was estimating that the price of an iPhone would probably go up to 9,000 US dollars, with the cost of the imports. And it's not only that, when we're looking at the demand and supply market set wages, and with Trump getting rid of illegal immigration as well, that may have been an option for cheap labor that you don't have. So to me, I think this is the biggest case of it, is sort of understanding what's going to happen to prices overall. We could very well see, not just in the States, but across the world as a whole, increase in prices. So yeah, that's just something else that I wanted to raise. And the very last point that I had and wanted to raise as well, it's about prices and interest rates. So a lot of people are saying, oh my goodness, we run the risk of going into a recession and so on. And that's not entirely true. And this is more of a complicated point because we have the Federal Reserve not wanting to, being sluggish in reducing interest rates. Trump has been asking them to reduce interest rates. But the whole point of having fairly high interest rates is to combat inflation. And the inflation is being caused by the high prices. So if you have high prices of imports and you have high price and domestic goods going up because a lot of the raw materials are being imported, that is going to put a pressure on inflation. So then why would the Federal Reserve then lower interest rates? And then very lastly, we have the issue of negative equity on home ownership. So I was talking to someone about this the other day, and they were saying, no, negative equity on homes is not such an issue because of the high interest rates. And I said, the devil is in the detail of the data. There are certain pockets and targeted areas in the Midwest, and I've tried to find a map, and I'll try to put it up here, that are experiencing negative equity. So the high prices, along with the high interest rates, if the Federal Reserve chooses to keep the interest rates high, in addition to pockets along the Midwest experiencing negative equity on their homes, that could result in another housing crisis that we saw. Oh my God, when was that out? 2000. Oh my goodness. Hang on. I need to find when the last housing crisis was. I need to get this date. See what the date is. Yep, subprime mortgages, 2007, 2010, yep, 2008. That was what I was looking for, 2007, 2008. That led to a global recession. People are saying, oh, this could lead to recession, I more see something worse than a recession that we are at risk of going into if the prices continue to be high and if interest rates continue to be high. It's not recession, it's where's that? Recession. Stagflation, that's the one. Stagflation. So a lot is at risk. So Trump is taking a hell of a gamble. And this is from my opinion. I wanted to express my bias. So I've taken time to let you guys know where I stand on this. And in this reading now that we'll go into the tarot part of this reading, and we would look into whether he could pull this off. So I've talked a lot about the key risks and the key issues that I see with this. I may have to change my tarot deck. So let's see whether he can pull this off. So Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels of the highest light, of the highest divine frequency, please protect myself. Please protect and bless those viewing this reading. Maybe only channel messages of the highest accuracy, of the highest truth, of the highest light, to provide us with the nuance to the situation, to what we ought to be aware of, for the expansion of our conscious awareness and the elevation of us as a collective. So let's look at this. So can you do it? Will this work? And what would the pain be like? Oh, wow. Did you guys see that? We have two tens. This 10 jumped out first, 10 of cups. 10 of cups. In fact, let me go to my traditional setup. I'll go to my traditional setup in all of this. Let's do that now. I think that would be a bit easy. Okay, so we're in the setup. Let's continue. So as I was saying, so the question that we're posing here is, can Trump do this? Will he be able to do it? And what would the journey be like, right? First card off the bat is the 10 of Cups. We have two tens here. We have the 10 of Wands. And we have the Hangman. Let me make sure everyone can see this. It's interesting getting the two tens and a Hangman here. Just one moment. Let me see what this is saying. This is sort of touching on what we were discussing before. Okay, so what I'm seeing with these two tens here, I'm seeing with this 10 of Cups, it's dreams, it's aspirations, it's dreams for one's family, it's the hopes, the dreams, the aspirations that people have. You know, you want the home, you want to find that partner, have a family, you know, there's something about the water and the land as well. It's something about being able to be healthy, something about being able to have room. It's like just the American dream, I guess, because I'm looking at this from the lens of America, right? It's the American dream. But however, that American dream isn't there. With the 10 of Wands, that's the dream. This is the reality. The reality is the struggle. The reality is having not just one wand, which is your job, but multiple, needing to carry multiple wands, needing to have multiple sources of income, working one or two jobs. And not just that, it's how do you make things work? Being creative with that. There's just a lot of a burden, putting your head down and just going at it and hope something emerges. So there's a matter of, in America now, it's the dream or the aspiration versus the reality. And with this Hangman, it's just taking another approach to this whole situation, turning things upside down on its head in terms of how to bridge the gap between these two, how to bridge the gap between the dream and the reality and what's happening. Okay, so that's the initial energy. Okay, so that's Guardian Angels. Thank you for that. Why have you shown? Oh, it's interesting. There is more stuff about dreams, realities, and aspirations. Okay, I'll take these. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's take one of these. I may have to go into another deck. Oh gosh, I also have a client coming up as well. Okay, let's all right. So I pulled a lot of cards here. Let's go back to right. We have the star here. Okay, what the star is saying is that, and we establish this in the spirit guide messages. Trump has this idea. He has this idea. Again, it's that making America great again idea. But it's how do you channel that and make this a reality? A lot of it is making stuff a reality and transitioning America. This is giving me a dreamy feel, a dreamy vibration. And believe it or not, I am going into Trump's energy now. They're having me go into Trump's energy. And what I'm sensing and what I'm feeling is that Trump's aspirations, Trump's intentions are genuine. I'm picking that up really strongly with the star and the world. You know, in terms of what legacy he wants for America, in terms of what he wants America to be. I'm picking up someone with a really heavy heart. I'm picking up someone with a lot of sadness, actually, and wanting to do right. It's like wanting to do right for people who stood by him. That's the energy that I'm picking up. Knowing that people want this, but really day to day they're experiencing this. And I'm being given this phrase here, but people are experiencing this, and it's like no one in government gives a damn. Like literally no one in government gives a damn. That statement, that is what my guides wanted me to say. And he has taken that on personally. I'm really surprised being in Trump's energy to feel my heart. Like my heart feels heavy. Like my heart feels like I feel a sense of injustice. I feel a sense of being done wrong by. I'm being told standing up for the little man who can't, who's lost their voice, who are no longer able to stand up for themselves. Like that's what I'm hearing and that's what I'm feeling in my heart. Okay. Now, what I'm picking up here is coming down the line, there's going to be a lot of judicial blockages going on to this with this Hierophant. Something about judicial blockages that perhaps with this Page of Cups may not have been expected. There is a challenge. Now, I'm saying there's a challenge coming from overseas, but It's like there's a judicial challenge, and I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't understand it. I'm just channeling what I'm hearing. But it's as if there's a country overseas that's going to judicially or legally or some sort of like international law or something like that challenge these tariffs. That's what I'm seeing here. And that is going to be unexpected. It's like Trump doesn't, or the administration doesn't see that. There's something about that here. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know, but like, or they're also showing me a case where someone raises a claim that sort of puts a spoke in the wheel or puts an obstruction to these global tariffs, particularly with a country that was not accounted for. Okay, that's the best way I could find to describe it. Now, this card is saying, you know about the prices and the penny punching, like this Four of Pentacles? People are going to be watching their monies, or at least the advice is coming up from the spirit guide team here to, yes, you need to watch your monies and you need to be careful of that. That energy is coming up here, it's coming through here quite strongly. But we know this already. There is someone who, in Trump's camp, is going to, there's something of a betrayal happening here, a betrayal on the tower. Almost like a coup from inside his administration is also coming through here. And that's another thing that he's not going to expect either. Dare I say it involves a woman, a very powerful woman. His chief of staff, I wouldn't be surprised if this, I'm so sorry, I don't know her name, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the chief of staff. There is something about uncovering duplicitousness or something of a plan to overthrow or something of a plan to undermine and getting rid of the people who are involved. Something about leaking information to the press. You know that there was this security leak to a reporter or something along those lines? It's like there is someone in the current administration who I'm picking up here has been maliciously undermining or spreading rumors, or it's like someone within undermining and sabotaging. This is not the first time I've seen this energy when it comes to Trump. I had a reading, and I'll post the link here, where I had predicted 7 months before his first assassination attempt that he was going to be assassinated. And I raised in that reading, I believe it was that one, that he had someone in his camp that couldn't quite be trusted. So that is going to be playing out in a major, major way. It's like this woman uncovers it. And it's like the people would be shamed or thrown out, or it would be uncovered what they've been doing and what they've been up to, is what I'm seeing. I think what's not being said, and I think my when I talked about my bias, this came up. It's sort of like to get the dream and for the United States to transition through a portal, and this is transitioning through a portal from this state to America being great again. What's not really being talked enough about is the sacrifice that's going to call. That's the sacrifice people are being called on to do and being called on to make. There's a lot of sacrificing that would need to be done. They're almost showing me like a situation of, during the world wars, how people had, it's not going to be as bad as that, to be fair, but there is something about people needing to sacrifice and to sacrifice. It's like sacrificing for the greater good. And in the process of doing that sacrifice, it's like the collective and their approach changes somewhat. It's like there's an elevation, there's an awakening, there's an expansion as people sit in this pain. But there's a difference around this pain. There's a pain for the greater good. Some people are going to choose, some people are not going to accept that at all here. Some people are not going to accept that. Some people are just not going to be happy with anything, with what's happening rather. But there is, because we have these two fours here. So it's like a split in the collective. Some people are willing to go along with this and to support Trump, and they understand the sacrifices that need to be made and so on, but others aren't. I'm also getting an issue here because this Four of Cups is coming up next to the Hierophant. Industries may be sluggish to come back to the States. It's like I'm picking up an initial energy, like everything seems so chaotic that I'm just going to stay put for now and see how things play out. And what I'm seeing here is either someone in Trump's administration reaching out to companies in the FTSE 500 or 100 or whatever, to say, come back, reinvest, what would it take? And I wouldn't be surprised if these conversations had started before Trump took office, before the inauguration. And this is after he won the election, before the inauguration is what they're showing me. It is trying to entice companies to come back to America, but companies are being sluggish in terms of that. Like people aren't really willing in terms of what's on the table to move just yet. Yeah. And even companies from the rest of the world as well are not like there's something of a sluggishness here. I'm also picking up that, yeah, it's sluggish to, so this, they're bringing me to the too much too late, and that the uptake on people negotiating deals or people coming to the table wanting to negotiate tariff deals with Trump. It's like something about that being sluggish, or even if the administration says, yes, we've done deals with this country and this country and this country and this country, it's like the value of it for all the effort may not be worth it at this point in time. At the point of doing this, that's what's coming through. Let me keep an eye on the time. So let's continue. Now, Trump's chief of staff, I'm assuming the chief of staff is a woman. It's a woman with short white hair. That's who I'm seeing as the Empress hair. You know, that same, like, she has short silver white hair is what I'm seeing. It's like she is going to be cleaning house in the administration as well. That's something I'm going to pick up on. Like there's a lot of cleaning house in the Trump camp, and that's going to be in the news. It's going to be majorly in the news. It could be a potential source of embarrassment for Trump. It's like people, like it's a cutting away with certain people. I'm also being told the message that the person who, when the person is found out, interestingly enough, this must be a very powerful person, first of all, because it's as if they're trying to negotiate or talk or put forward their perspective. I'm seeing someone who breaks ranks with this Ace of Swords. They break ranks and they want to put forward their perspective or their point of view. And them doing that is a stab to Trump. It's like stabbing Trump in the back or undermining him. But I'm being shown here that whatever this person's doing, they would not be. I'm not sure whether it would work out or not. I'm not sure. They're not showing me who the person is, but they are showing me that woman. I think it's Trump's chief of staff with the short hair. They are showing me that person. Okay. So let's go into a different deck. So, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels, thank you for those messages so far. Let's go a bit deeper into this. So, what would the journey? So, with this work, let's just get to that. Will this work? Oh my goodness, we have the Hierophant again. We have the Hierophant twice. Oh, yeah. So that's why we need to clarify the Four of Wands and the King of Swords. Guys, just give me a moment. We have the Hierophant. We have the Chariot. We have the Three of Swords. Let me ask this question a different way. I'm so silly that I hadn't asked it this way yet. Who is going to win between Trump and China? Who is going to come out victorious in that? Let's ask this question a different way. Between Trump and China in this tariff war, they're telling me, interestingly enough, that Trump has been circling China for quite a while in terms of wanting to. I'm going to say this because it's an image that they're showing me, so I'm just going to come out and say it. All messages are alleged until proven fact. It's like Trump is trying to, another angle of this is Trump trying to bait China into a confrontation, trying to bait China to, I can't place it better than that. They're showing me the image, but yeah. Okay, so who's going to be success? There is going to be a winner for sure. There is. There is going to be a winner. There is going to be a winner. Someone is going to come out on top of this. through negotiations with the Temperance energy, though. Through negotiations. Oh, God, I don't want to say it. Why did I ask this question? Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go to the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is manufacturing, isn't it? Let's put it this way. China is going to appear as if they win initially. However, because there's only so far in the future that I can read, okay? Bear that in mind. And there are many different timelines as well. The timeline that we appear to be on is a timeline where there are two potential ones. There's a potential of a negotiation of something which doesn't leave America in the position that was promised. That's point number one. Like Trump promised, like we're going to have all this manufactured, we're going to have all of this, all of that, all of the other. That doesn't quite happen to the extent that Trump promised. Yeah, I think that's the best way to say it. That's timeline one that's coming through. Timeline two is one where it becomes apparent there is some form of negotiation that happens, and it becomes apparent who the new world leader with this Ace of Pentacles is. It's like we realize, or it's going to be noticed, okay, we have a new world leader here, or they fought it out, this country is going to be appointed the new world leader. And another country is sort of going to be locked out, sort of looking on to what's happening. Currently, what these cards are saying, and let me just, I gave the answer just now, but let me just double check this. I suppose that's when you just, can you confirm the answer? Just find a way to confirm the answer. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it appears in the timeline that I'm looking at here that China are going to marginally come out ahead, and there is an embarrassment that's coming, and someone being frozen out as well. Again, this is a current timeline that we're on. A lot of things can change. I'm happy to be wrong. And one thing that I'm seeing here is the Seven of Wands, which is really interesting in this reading, because this Seven of Wands talks about perhaps America, the Trump administration, overestimated. It's like there's a course correction. There's an opportunity for course correction to come in. As it appears that China is winning this, there is an opportunity for a course correction to come in. So this is where I'm seeing two timelines potentially. And this course correction that America takes enables America to save face with this Ten of Pentacles here. Someone's legacy with this Ten of Pentacles remains intact because they're able to save face on this. But it's as if in certain circles, there's an acknowledgement that power has transitioned. And this comes that there's been a transition of global power and global status. And this comes back to my point of whether this is too much. It could similar to too little, too late, too much, too late. Right? I feel as this plays out a bit more, I would need to do another reading to see how this energy pans out. Let me see what time am I on. Okay. I would have to leave it there. For now, I have another client. I have a client coming through now. So I would have to leave it there for now. I feel I need to do another reading on this as more time has elapsed to really see how these energies unfold. Because again, I'm seeing two timelines, but it's too early to determine which timeline we're going to be on. So I would need to do another reading, like a part 2 of this. Okay. All right, guys, let me know what you think and see you in future readings. Bye for now.